Okay, so let us begin. This is a course titled Structural Dynamics. Of course, it has some code. I am not remembering that. It is 2+1 credit course, 3 credit course. So 2 credits are allotted for theory, and 1 credit is allotted for lab. The moment I attend the word theory, people are under the impression that you have to write paragraphs. Even though it is a theory, means when I say it is theory, that means it is problem solving. So this course it heavily develops on problem solving and analytical aptitude. So if you don't have that right now, of course, at the end of the course, you are going to have it. So it is 2+1 credit course, 1 credit is allotted for lab. To do lab sessions, we may conduct few experiments which are physical in nature. That means we will use that shake table in the next room and we may do some experiments. We also have some programming in these lab exercises where you are going to program solution of certain problems. For example, response of multi-story building to a quick excitation. It has to be programmed as one of the exercise in this lab. Now, 2+1, so credit guy. So 1 credit corresponds to 15. So therefore, 2 credits, that means you have 100 marks assessment. Out of that, 50 marks assessment is class continuous assessment. So it will be based on many things such as I may ask you to form the group and complete certain tasks. It may be a group activity. It may be surprise quiz. It may be anything which is assessed during the class, during the lecture day. Are you with me? So that is class continuous assessment. And then you have end term examination. So either online or offline. Let us see what time permits. So it is end term examination of 50 marks. If it is offline in nature, I may cast a paper with which is open book. Obviously, it will not be easy. Then lab session, we have about 50 marks. So in lab हमें क्या करना है वो मैं lab session के time बताऊंगा. Unfortunately, today first class I am supposed to deliver a lab session. But unless I speak something about structural dynamics, you will understand nothing in the lab. So therefore, I am converting this into a lecture. You will have this as a first lecture. And then from next week onwards, we are going to have lab session. So lab session is for 3 hours. Out of that, I expect that I will be delivering for 1.5 hours. And then remaining 1.5 hours, you have to do the work. Either here or somewhere else, but you have to do the work. Now, so let us, having said this, this is the postmortem of the course. So now let us go to the soul of it. So structural dynamics, as the name suggests, we have to understand what is dynamics and what is structure. But even before that, let me ask you a very basic question. That when do you say that any force acting on a structure is dynamic in nature? So when it is moving. When it is moving. For example, I'm standing here. I walk across the class and I go to that door. Will it be dynamic? With very slow speed, I am walking there and I will reach there in 2 hours. Will it be dynamic? Unfortunately, no. We will reach to the answer what is dynamic and what is static possibly at the end of this course. But we are going to answer it part by part and we are going to answer it by negation. This is not dynamic force. When I reach that door in the time span of 2 hours under certain set of conditions which are prevalent here right now in this structure, that force is not going to be dynamic. Now, let me give you another example. Right now, let us say this is not a ground floor. This is the first floor slab on which you are sitting. This lecture goes for 2 hours in continuation. After 2 hours, you move out. And you are going to, this classroom is going to be used only during the next day. Is that load dynamic? If yes, why? If no, why not? Let me give you a third example. Let us say you have a water tank which is at some other floor, not at ground floor, and for some cleaning purposes, that water has been drained out and it is refilled. Is that load dynamic? So whatever I said, and now let us assume another example. This building is standing here and there comes the earthquake. Is that load dynamic? Yes. Or this is a tall structure on which wind with very speed acts in a short duration of time. Is that force dynamic? Yes. Yes. So we have some gut feelings, some intuitions. Whatever, all the examples that I have said, I'm going to try and plot it as a function of time. So पहले वाला example, where the classroom is filled right now, you are sitting there, and once you leave the classroom, it is going to be occupied only the next day. So therefore, this is the graph. On timeline, I have plotted the time in days, and on y-axis, I have plotted the magnitude of a force. Are you with me? And you will see the spike for some duration. For example, out of 24 hours in a day, you are occupying it for only for 2 hours. So that spike is this one. And next day, possibly right now, there are 20 students. Tomorrow, they are pleased with the class and 25 students come. So this load will have change in magnitude. But classroom is going to be occupied only for 1 hour. It may change है. But एक ही घंटे के लिए classroom use होगा. And then you are going to leave the classroom, it will be occupied the next day. ये एक type का loading. दूसरा loading, where I have plotted it in hours, and very slow variation of magnitude of load is there. I am walking very slowly from this point to that point in 2 hours. Are you with me? उस तरीके का load. Of course, I am not talking about moving load here, but I am just deriving a simile. Are you with me? So a load that fluctuates by very small amount in magnitude over the period of hours. In hours, there is a fluctuation. And then there comes the earthquake, something like this, where the earthquake force acting on a structure fluctuates in matter of seconds, because the earthquake may last for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 1 minute. So usme, there is a lot of variation in this force acting on this one. So which of this should I call them as dynamic is my question. Whether to call a force as dynamic or not, will it depend upon the characteristics of the structure? Is the second question. Or is it the intrinsic property of force alone? मतलब structure क्या है मुझे पता नहीं. But looking at the force, can I say whether it is dynamic or static? Is the question. Or should I be considering certain properties of the structure to qualify a particular force as dynamic or static for that structure? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? So that is the another. So ये जो एक question मैंने यहाँ पे raise किया है, when P will be called as dynamic. In fact, it's very tough question to answer, and we will be able to answer that question, that too only partially, at the end of this course. Are you with me? So to decide whether a particular force is dynamic or not, whether you are going to invoke the principles of structural dynamics to analyze the structure under that force, you have to take a strong engineering decision which should be reasoned. Reason के बिना कुछ नहीं. अगर dynamic है, if P is static, let then this bar deforms and it settles to some deformation. This definitely is a static force. ये intuition से पता है, अभी define नहीं किया. Are you with me? And if I apply suddenly varying force like this, no, not suddenly varying, a fast varying force like this, I know by intuition that it is going to be dynamic force. I have not yet defined what is dynamic and what is static, but I know by intuition. Two short cases, there is no gray area. One is static force, another is dynamic force. So if a body is subjected to static force and if a body is subjected to dynamic force, what is the change in response? Is my question. Response में फर्क क्या है? So we are going to do that thought experiment here. Imagine that this is a ball pen spring. आपने ball pen तो use किए हुए, उसका spring है, ऐसे imagine करो. And it has spring stiffness K. What is stiffness? Stiffness का मतलब क्या है? बोलो जल्दी. Resistance, deformation, अरे ऐसे का stress, strain, सब बोलो. So what is stiffness? Action required to cause unit corresponding deformation is stiffness. हर एक word को meaning है. मैंने force नहीं बोला है, मैंने moment नहीं बोला. I have said action. So it encompasses both force as well as movement. Are you with me? Action required to cause unit corresponding deformation. What is corresponding? So if it is a force, then you are going to have translation. elongation or contraction as a deformation in the direction of the force. If it is shear force, you are going to have sliding deformation. So force जब बोलता हूं मैं तो corresponding deformation क्या है? Sliding, elongation, contraction or translation. Do you agree with me? This is translation. Sorry. Then you are going to have, अगर मैंने इसको ऐसे slide किया, so it is sliding deformation. Are you with me? This is if I apply the force along the axis of the member, it is contraction. If I apply the force along the axis but of tensile, which is tensile in this, it is going to be elongation. So elongation, contraction, sliding and translation. Translation मतलब क्या? All the points of the body they displaced by same amount. सारे के सारे point एक ही amount से displace होते हैं. If you pick up any 2 points on the body, उनके बीच में अगर distance d है, तो after the deformation also the distance between those 2 points is d. The body entirely has transferred from one location to another. इसको हम बोलते हैं translation. So the deformation can be translation, elongation, contraction or sliding when it is force. Are you with me? So action required to cause unit corresponding deformation is stiffness. ऐसे हमने define किया ना. So shear force required to cause unique sliding of cross sections over one another is shear stiffness. Are you with me? Then compressive force required to cause unit contraction of the member is its compressive stiffness. Similarly, action required to cause unit tensile deformation is its tensile stiffness. So on and so. अब मोमेंट की तरफ जाते हैं. मोमेंट दो तरीके के डिफॉर्मेशंस कॉज कर सकते हैं. मोमेंट कैन बी बेंडिंग इन नेचर or it can be twisting in nature. Are you with me? So therefore rotations are the effects of movement. Is the effect of movement. Rotation in the plane of cross section if it is twisting. Rotation perpendicular to the plane of cross section if it is bending. So what is the effect of bending and twisting? Rotations. कैसे? अगर bending है तो the deformation or rotation would occur perpendicular to the plane of cross section. If it is twisting, then the rotation is going to occur in the plane of cross section. Are you with me? And दूसरा कौन सा rotation है? Rigid body rotations. Look at this. This is rigid body translation and rotation. Are you with me? So rigid body rotation. While the body rotates, all points on the body they have same distance within them. Always at any instant of time. Look at this fan which is rotating now. Rigid body rotation, because you pick up any 2 points on the fan, the distance between them either doesn't change or it changes to such an extent that it is not realizable visually. Are you with me? So practically it is rigid body rotation. Are you with me? What is the effect of movement? Rotation, relative rotation or rigid body rotation. Relative rotation में दो तरीके के rotations हैं. One which occurs in the plane of cross section of the member is rotation under twisting, and one which occurs perpendicular to the plane of cross section. Rotation is plane में हो रहा है, which is perpendicular to the plane of cross section. That is bending. Are you with me? So action required to cause, movement required to cause unit deformation in the plane perpendicular to the cross section. I am going to define it as bending stiffness. Are you with me? Twisting moment required to cause unit sliding rotation of cross sections over one another. That movement I am going to call it as twisting, torsional stiffness. Are you with me? So torsional stiffness, axial stiffness, then bending stiffness. इसके साथ साथ ये एक और वर्ड आता है, उसको हम बोलते हैं axial rigidity, bending rigidity, flexural rigidity बोलते हैं ना. So we will talk about that little later. But these are the terms which are related to the stiffness. So we have defined stiffness. Stiffness अब समझ में. So now just have a look at this spring. It has a stiffness K. So we are here. Those who are attending the lecture online, we are here. So we are considering the example where you have a block attached to a spring. The other end of the spring is attached to a fixed support. It is attached to a fixed support. And the force is going to act along the length of the spring. Force कैसे act हो रहा है? It is not acting perpendicular to the spring. It is acting along the length of the spring. Are you with me? Now question, what is the response of this system to this force? क्या response बनेगा? It is going to be translation. Do you agree with me? and possibly translation नहीं बोलेंगे, elongation बोलेंगे, because if you consider spring as a part of body, you are going to have change in distance between any two randomly picked up points as the force goes on increasing. Do you agree with me? So हम उसको बोलेंगे elongation. So this spring is going to elongate. Now, how many unknowns do you have in your hand? At how many places do you require to compute the elongation? Only at one place. If I know by how much amount has this mass displayed, let us say this mass is displayed by amount delta under the action of P. If I give you any other point, you can interpolate and compute the amount of deformation that has occurred at that. And that interpolation is linear interpolation provided K remains constant. Are you with me? So we are saying that it is a linear spring. Linear spring का मतलब क्या है? The force deformation relationship is linear. If that is the case, give me deformation of any one point on this entire system. Any one point on this entire system, and I am done. I can find out deformation at any other. Are you with me? Okay. So this delta, I am going to call it as a response on this. See, the questions that you should ask yourself at MTech level is, why should I call only delta as a response? Why shouldn't I call deformation of the spring at this point as a response? So you can call, but independent response is only one. Once I know delta, everywhere else I can find out the deformation. So therefore, response का मतलब होता है I need to find out deformations of each and every point of the body ideally. So how many points do lie on a body? Infinite. So how many unknowns do I have? Infinite. But out of that, if independent displacements are occurring only at one point, and at all other points I can linearly interpolate and find out the displacement, then the response to me is only one, and that is this delta. So are we clear what is response of a structure? Okay, so having said that, for this structure, my response that I will be monitoring is deformation of that block in the direction of force P. Happy? Now, how should this graph look like if it is a linear spring? कैसे दिखना चाहिए? So if I plot delta here, okay, tell me under the action of P, what will be the delta? Will it be P by K? देखो, stiffness का मतलब ये है कि the action required to cause unit corresponding deformation. So if delta is the deformation corresponding to force P, stiffness must be P by delta. Action required to cause unit deformation, P by delta is K. So we already in the definition of K itself, we know the response. K is equal to P by delta. Do you agree with me? So in other words, what is the response? The response is equal to delta equal to P by K. Do you agree with me? When the load is static. इसका मतलब there are three ways in which I can apply the load. So I am now going to switch on my video. The students who are attending it online, please let me know if I am visible.
Visible, sir.
Okay. So now just have I hope you are able to see me. See my hand. I am going to now apply the load in three different fashions, and you are going to tell me what kind of load it is. I am going to toss three words. एक है gradually applied load, एक है suddenly applied load, और तीसरा है impact load. Are you with me? There are three types of loads, three words that I have tossed. Look at the action that I am going to do and tell me what kind of load it is. Are you with me? So this pen comes down, its surface touches the surface of my hand, yet I am holding the pen by other hand. I have not transferred the load on this hand. Slowly, I will take off this support and ultimately the load will be transferred on this hand. What kind of load it is? It is gradually applied because I have some external agency that is carrying this load, and when I transfer this load on this hand, it is not sudden. I am transferring it slowly. That external agency is not taken off immediately. It is taken off gradually. Are you with me? So naturally, the load is going to be applied, transferred to the structure in a gradual way. That's what we mean by static load. For time being, static load का मतलब क्या है? The load has been gradually applied on the structure. So when the load is applied gradually on the structure, what do you expect? What happens to delta? Delta also will go on gradually increasing. Are you with me? And ultimately, it will settle for the value of delta equal to P by K. Happy? Are you with me? अब जरा दूसरी चीज देखते हैं. Now, this pen has touched the palm, and I take off this external agency, that is my another hand, suddenly. कौन सा लोड है? Naturally मैंने बोला ही sudden load है. Are you with me? What is the consequence now? The load has been transferred to the structure immediately at an instant, but is structure ready to take it? समझ में आ रहा है? Structure will take load only and only when the deformation occurs. क्योंकि आप जरा imagine करो, if a bar is hung from the top, that reaction R, we know that it must be equal to P, but that R doesn't get developed instantaneously. It gets developed as and when the bar elongates. When the elongation is full under the action of P, then only reaction R is equal to P. Do you agree with me? So therefore, even though the P has been applied on the bar, the resistance, जो अंदर से resistance develop हुआ है, वो अभी P जितना नहीं है. Are you with me? So that resistance will go on building up. But in the process, as the load has been applied suddenly, instead of that delta getting settled to the value P by K, it will become 2P by K, twice the deformation, and it will come back. So if you look at the graph of deformation versus time, you will see the oscillations. That means the delta will go on oscillating about the value P by K, and finally it will come to the rest at the value of P by K. I will draw that sketch for your understanding on this board. So imagine that this P is being applied suddenly. So how does delta look like? So this is the value of P by K. Are you with me? This is delta. I am plotting delta on y-axis, and I am plotting time on x-axis. Are you with me? So P by K, P जैसे ही suddenly apply होता है, तो ये deformation पहले तो 2P by K तक जाता है. From where this 2P by K comes, we are going to derive that. But believe me on this value now. It goes to 2P by K. And then it keeps on fluctuating about this line, P by K. And ultimately it settles to the value of P by K. So ultimate displacement is going to be equal to the static or gradual displacement, P by K. But you will see the fluctuation about the mean value, P by K. So you will see the structure vibrate. You can perform this experiment. अब एक काम करो, रबर बैंड हैंग करो, एंड यहाँ पे दूसरे एंड को लोड लगा के जस्ट लीव इट. यू विल सी दैट इट बाउंस, मींस इट एक्चुअली वाइब्रेट्स, एंड फाइनली इट सेटल्स टू द वैल्यू व्हिच इज इक्वल टू P by K. आर यू विद मी? 2P, so instantaneous deformation कितना है? 2P by K, but ultimately it settles to the deformation equal to P by K. Now third exercise, instead of bringing this member slowly in the contact of the palm, I drop it from the member. अब कौन सा लोड है? Impact. Now how does this graph look like? It doesn't go to 2P by K now. It goes much higher than that. How high? It depends on from what height you have dropped the object. So it will go high above 2P by K, but ultimately it will fluctuate about the value P by K, and it will settle to the value P. This is our intuition. अभी तक हमने structural dynamics के कोई भी principle use नहीं किए. We are going to derive this using the principles of structural dynamics soon. Are you with me? But this is our understanding. This phenomena we already know. So now I am going to stop the video. Yeah. So now my question is static response of the structure same as dynamic response? No. Static response, if it is P by K, it is forever P by K. It will remain P by K till P is removed. Are you with me? But dynamic response may have fluctuations. Now my question is, if I subject this object to P, which I will say it is P of T, P as a function of time. So it is not constant, it is varying. So can I write down the response of this structure, delta, also will now be a function of time? Do you agree with this? Now mind you, this T which I have written in bracket is not delta multiplied by T. No, it is the argument. Delta is a function of time. Are you with me? It is argument of the function. It is a variable. Delta varies as time. Varies as a function of time. Why? Because P varies as a function of time. Now imagine that we know for sure a particular load is dynamic. So it is going to have fluctuations. P is going to vary fast as a function of time. We have not yet defined what dynamic is. But let us understand that it is fast varying load with reference to time. So I call it dynamic load, P of P. And let us say the graph of P of P is something like this. Are you with me? इसकी जैसा ग्राफ है. Happy? Now question, If P is a function of time, डेल्टा ने क्या किया है वो भी तो फंक्शन ऑफ टाइम होगा. Do you agree with me? Now, can I write delta as a function of time equal to P as a function of time divided by K? ऐसे लिख सकता हूँ नहीं. That this stands for. Are you with me? अगर मैंने ऐसे किया तो it is extension of statics. What I am doing, I am just writing static equation to depict the phenomena which has occurred in time. And the first thing that you have to understand is the structures do not respond in the same way as they give response to static stimuli. Dynamic load में और कुछ होता है. अगर इतना सिंपल रहता तो ये सब्जेक्ट ही नहीं रहता. You have already studied. You have studied structural analysis 1. You have studied structural analysis 2. नाम अलग अलग हो सकते हैं, but you have studied Macaulay's method. You have studied stiffness matrix method. You have studied flexibility method. वही principle use करते. सिर्फ P will be substituted as a function of time, and then displacements also will come as a function of time. ऐसे नहीं होता. ये response नहीं होता. We will prove this. So in the next class we are going to prove that it is not going to happen. Delta of T is not going to be same as P of T by K. As a first part of proving this, we are going to start deriving the equations that govern the solution of this system where P is dynamic in nature, P is time varying in nature. तो ये हम पहले आज कर रहे हैं, वो करके हम आज रुकेंगे. Are you with me? So first of all, I am going to derive an expression of delta of T, expression that will give me the value of delta of T, delta as a function of time. वो expression सिर्फ derive करना है, उसका solution next class में. Are you with me? We are going to only derive these. So please take a snapshot of this. I will be clearing this board. So take a snapshot. Yeah. So for all those who are attending the class online, one of the student has asked a question. What about the method of superposition? So if there are n number of forces acting on a body, can we do superposition and find out the response? Answer is yes. You can even do the superposition when it is static. When all the forces are dynamic in nature, then we cannot do. Why? Because P1 of T may vary as a different function of time and P2 of T may vary as a different function of time. So then the displacement of a structure to joint stimuli of P1 of T and P2 of T has to be holistically seen. You cannot find out the response of the structure to P1 of T and then P2 of T and then superimpose. No. So the question that you ask is the extension of the question why I cannot write delta T is equal to P of T as a function of time by K. Once we derive that, then naturally that question will follow. Are you with me? So have you taken this snapshot? Let us go to the new one. My skills are primitive on this board, so possibly next time I will rehearse. Now I am drawing a structure where I call the spring with stiffness K. Stiffness with K, and I say that it is a linear spring. So no matter what the deformation is, P versus delta graph is going to be linear, which is unlikely. If you look at the structures, they no longer behave, even at the very small load, they are not going to have linear behavior. But we cannot start directly with non-linear plastic elastic problems. No. You will understand nothing. So as it is the introductory course in structural dynamics, first we will start with the routine regular assumption. K is a linear elastic spring. Are you with me? What is linear? Force versus deformation relationship is straight line. What is elastic? If you lower the spring and if you unload it, it traces back the exactly same path is on P delta plane. Are you with me? So at the end of remove means when you remove all the force, there is no permanent deformation in this system. Are you with me? So linear and elastic SI spring. And now let me say I'm going to add the information. Why should I add the information? Will be known in a while. The information is this block has a mass of m. Kitna mass hai? M. So when I draw this diagram, what are the things that you can understand by looking at it? क्या-क्या चीजें हैं वो मुझे बताओ. First thing that you understand is spring element doesn't have mass. अब ये कहना पड़ेगा नहीं कहना पड़ेगा because I have drawn it in such a fashion that m is written here. So the block has significant mass in comparison to the spring. The element that provides the stiffness to the structure is massless. Is the assumption that I am implicitly making. ऐसे क्यों किया is another question. हाँ, but देखो assumption क्या किया है वो तो पहले समझना चाहिए बाद में क्या देखो. The assumption is I am assuming that I have a spring element which has negligible mass in comparison with the mass of the block. Are you with me? That is the first assumption that I am making. Acha. What about mass M? Can it offer some stiffness to the force or some resistance to the force? No. The element where I assume the mass to be concentrated doesn't have stiffness. समझ में आ रहा है? So it's like water, just mass. It doesn't have any stiffness. Water is also a bad example, but anyway, it is the element which doesn't have stiffness. We don't have anything of this kind in the real world. Forget it. How are we going to correlate it with the real world problems? So we'll come to that in a while. But this is a mass element which doesn't have any stiffness, and that is a stiffness element having stiffness K, which doesn't have any mass. Are you with me? So, having said that, what else is realizable from this? It is supported by a roller support. So this mass is able to move freely along this horizontal direction, which I denoted by Cartesian coordinate x. Are you with me? So positive x is towards right, negative x is towards left. ऐसे denote किया. Happy? This is there friction? No. Did I mention coefficient of static or kinematic friction? Kinetic friction? No. So the moment I do not write anything about the coefficient of static or kinetic friction, I keep mum about it. I'm implicitly trying to tell you that this supports the frictions. In reality, ऐसे होता है क्या? नहीं. उसको जाएंगे बाद में. We will correlate everything. But we ये ख्याली पुलाव चल रहा है. We are just doing a thought experiment where we have an element M having mass M, no stiffness. Then we have stiffness element K having no mass, and that mass is supported such that it is free to move along X without any friction. Are you with me? So, and I am going to apply a force in the direction of this spring, which is time variant in nature. This force now is a function of time. और कैसे वाला function? It is not going to vary as a function of hours. No, it is going to vary as a function of seconds. For time being, ऐसे ही समझ. So it is dynamic. मैंने अभी define नहीं किया dynamic load क्या है. But I know that it is surely dynamic load. It is fast varying force. How can P of T look like? It can look any complex. For example, if this force is coming from the earthquake, earthquakes typically have envelopes like this. So it will look something like this. So this is P of T as a function of time. Typical example. P of T can be anything. It is fast varying force. That's all you have to understand. Are you with me? Okay. And then if draw to किया, what is my interest? इस system को मुझे analyze करना है. So what is my interest? I need to find out spring force at all instances of time. सारे instances of time के लिए जहां तक ये observe P of T applicable है उस सारे duration के लिए मुझे spring में कितना force है इसमें interest है क्योंकि spring कितना तो नहीं है. Are you with me? So I am interested in spring force. Secondly, I am interested in how does mass M displaces as a function of time. क्यों है उसमें? क्योंकि this mass M can be a building. M represent किया it can be one building. There may be another building in the vicinity of it. तो इसका deformation अगर दोनों के gap से ज्यादा हो गया, there is going to be something called as bonding of the earthquake, where the buildings hit one another. तो damage earthquake के वजह से ज्यादा नहीं हुआ. ज्यादा damage क्यों हुआ? Because one building did hit another building during the event of seismicity. Are you with me? So therefore, I am interested, very much interested in how does this mass deform as a function of time. Are you with me? That's और एक चीज में मुझे interest है. What is the acceleration of this mass as a function of time? As it varies, as it moves to and fro, I want to plot its acceleration as a function of time when P of T was applied on it. Why? Because it may be a hospital building on which you have, let us say, scanner, CT scanner mounted. It has its prescribed acceleration limits. I don't want that heavy equipment or that costly equipment to be damaged. It should not cross a certain threshold of the acceleration. So I am interested naturally in this acceleration. One of the reasons. I am just spelling out here. Also, acceleration में अगर interest है, displacement में interest है, तो accelerate displacement से acceleration का रास्ता velocity से जाता है. So I am interested in finding out what is the velocity of the structure as a function of time. So these are all the parameters that I am interested. How do I denote these parameters? So we are now going to use standard notations. If you are talking about deformation of a body in x direction, we are going to call that as u. क्या बोलेंगे इसको डेल्टा वगैरह नहीं बोलूंगा, वो सब आप बचपन. अभी क्या बोलेंगे u of t is the deformation of a point in x direction. Chosen coordinate system is Cartesian xyz. Its deformation at a given instant of time, therefore u is a function of time. I am going to call it as u of t. U of t will be positive if the mass displaces on the right hand side of its mean position. If it displaces on the left hand side of its mean position, it is negative. Are you with me? So this is u of t. So how do I denote the velocity? Velocity will be naturally u dot of t. देखो, if you are taking the derivative with reference to time, the notation is dot. If you are taking the derivative with reference to space, such as x, y, z, so dou u by dou x, dou u by dou z, partial derivatives, and dou u by dou z, then that will be denoted by dash. Are you with me? So dash is for derivative with reference to space, and dot is for derivative with reference to time. Inequality. So u dot of t is nothing but velocity as a function of time. Again, फिर से बोल रहा हूँ. Bracket में t लिखा है. It is not u dot into t. No, it is the argument. U dot is a function of time. Are you with me? And how do I write the acceleration? So u double dot of t is going to be the acceleration. These are the parameters in which I am. Once I know u dot of t, naturally I know u dot of t and u double. And vice versa. तीनों में से कोई भी एक अगर मैं इवेल्युएट कर सकता हूँ, एक किया तो बाकी के मिल जाते हैं. Are you with me? एक के साथ एक फ्री. So that is known. So एक ही पैरामीटर कोई तो इसमें से निकाल. So let me assign myself the task that I want to find out u as a function of time t. So what is the mathematical equation that governs the solution for u of t? Let us try to derive that. How are we going to derive that? Very simple. Applied mechanics, Newton's second law. That's what we are going to use at time t equal to t star. Are you with me? So I am going to take this snapshot of this system. At time t. T star भी बोल सकता हूँ, पर इसलिए मैं बोलूँगा at time t. T can be anything. It is 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 5. But what is t equal to 0 seconds? Tell me. Displacement. Anyone, what do you mean by t equal to 0? Pardon? What is that? Time 0 is the point you rescue. T equal to 0 is the time at which observers started observing the phenomenon. For example, if I set t equal to 0 to the commencement of motion, as we said, that system is at rest, then we will never be able to write the equation of motion of moon because we were not there. By definition, t equal to 0 हम कहाँ थे अगर ऐसे कहें. So t equal to 0 is the time at which observer starts observing the phenomenon. Are you with me? So this p of t may be acting for any time on this mass m, but I am interested now at the instant t equal to t. So t equal to 0 is the time when I started observing the phenomenon. Are you with me? So snapshot at time t equal to, and I assume, assumption क्या assume करूँगा, this system at time instant t t equal to t has deformed to the right of main position. Its velocity is towards right and its acceleration is towards right. सब मैं ही assume करूँगा. I will assume everything to be positive. Why to start with negativity? We will assume everything positive. Are you with me? If it is not so, at the end of the analysis, you will get a negative sign. What big deal? ऐसे ही करते हैं ना, reaction की signs हम assume करते हैं and we apply equations of equilibrium. At the end, if we get negative sign, it doesn't say whether the reaction is towards left or right. No, it says originally assumed sense of the reaction was incomplete. समझ में आ रहा है? वैसे ऐसे ही हम करेंगे. We will assume that at this time instant t, the body has deformed away from towards right from its mean position. Its velocity is in positive x direction and its acceleration is also in positive x. We assume that. Are you with me? Then I am going to draw free body diagram of mass m. क्या draw करने वाला हूँ? What's the time now? Okay. So I know that after 2 years you are attending it offline, but we will not stop here. I don't want to stop here. Let us derive the equation and then we will stop. So I am going to draw the free body diagram of mass m. क्या draw करूँगा? At time t equal to t. FBD of m. What is free body diagram? What is free body diagram? चलो क्विकली जितना अप्लाइड मैकेनिक्स का यहाँ पे लगता है उतना हम रिवाइज करें. What is free body diagram? हाँ तो फैशन बॉडी डायग्राम बोला. Why do we call it as free body? Free the body from all external agencies, and don't just do that. Show what the external agencies were doing. इसको बोला जाता है free body. Are you with me? Free the body from all external agencies and show what those external agencies were doing. इसको हम बोलेंगे free body. So if I were to draw free body diagram of mass m at time instant t, what all is external? Tell me. Is Earth external? Of course. Earth is external to this mass. What the Earth is going to do? It is going to pull the mass down by amount m, mg. Do you agree with me? Gravitational. So ये जो free body diagram मैं draw कर रहा हूँ, उसमें पहला force तो मुझे दिखाना पड़ेगा mg. Useless force, क्योंकि मैं इक्वेशन लिखने वाला हूँ x डायरेक्शन में. जो फोर्स y डायरेक्शन में है उसका दूर दूर का भी कोई लेना देना नहीं. But still, for completeness, एक बार सिर्फ मैं ड्रॉ करूंगा. उसके बाद मुझे मत पूछना कि mg क्यों नहीं ड्रॉ किया. फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम. It is not drawn because we are not writing the equation in that direction. Are you with me? So mg. What else is external? Tell me. No. Before that, mg अगर इस डायरेक्शन में का ये roller supports are the external body mass and yes. So therefore, the support must be applying an upward force on this body. जिसको मैं बोलूँगा m normal reaction normal to the surface of contact. Are you with me? Yeah. अच्छा ये force का भी मुझे कोई लेना देना नहीं है because I am going to write down finally the equation of motion in x direction. Y direction में जो चल रहा है कचरा है. Are you with me? But for completeness, I have drawn this. What else is external? Is P of T external? Of course. P of T has to be applied by some external agency of mass m. Do you agree with me? So therefore, I will show this P of T. Achha, is this P of T towards right or towards left? Don't know. You have to look at the graph of P of T. For example, if that T is somewhere here, P of T is negative. Do you agree with me? If that T is somewhere here, then that P of T is positive. But when I substitute the value of P of T, I will be substituting it as positive or negative, depending upon at what time instant we are. So therefore, I need not worry. I will simply write it as P of T because I have shown it towards right in the diagram. और उसका ग्राफ यहाँ पे available with me. So while substituting, we will be taking care of sign. Are you with me? So P of T. What else is external? K. K. So what K must be doing on this mass? Resisting. So where has mass M moved? I assume that it has moved towards right. U of T positive assume किया ना मैंने. So the moment I say U of T is positive, that means this spring must have been stretched at time instant T equal to T. Do you agree with me? अगर spring stretch किया है, so what kind of force is it going to apply on this mass M? It is going to pull the mass. Do you agree with me? Stretch है ना, tension है string, so it is going to pull. So therefore force कैसे दिखाना पड़ेगा? So this is the force that spring applies at time instant t on this block. What is the amount of force? K times U. Stiffness is the force required to cause unit deformation. So if there is a deformation of U of t, what is the force that must have caused that deformation? It must be K times U of. Are you with me? So therefore, this force is going to be K times U. Agreed? Mind you, I am emphasizing once again, T is not the multiplication of U and T. T is the argument of T. U is a function of time. Are you with me? K into U. Happy? समझ में आ रहा है? Okay. What else is external? हो गया. अब कुछ external नहीं है. Are you with me? All the external agencies, the body is freed from all the external agencies, and we have shown what the external agencies must have been doing. However, this free body diagram is not complete because in free body diagram, apart from showing what external agencies do, we also show the accelerations. समझ में आ रहा है? आपको स्टैटिक्स के प्रॉब्लम्स की फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम ड्रॉ करने की आदत है जिसमें एक्सेलरेशन 0 रहता है, बट हियर इट इज अ प्रॉब्लम इन डायनामिक्स and it doesn't necessarily have acceleration as 0. Are you with me? So I have to show on this free body diagram the acceleration. I assume that acceleration is towards right. Assumption. So I am going to call this as U double dot of T. Agreed? So now tell me the statement of Newton's second law. What is the statement of Newton's second law? That is first law. Every body continues to remain in its state of rest or of uniform motion unless it is along a straight line, unless it is acted upon by an external agency called as force. That is the first. What is the second law? That is third law. Second law क्या है? The first आया, third आया, second ही नहीं आया. जो पूछा. Algebraic sum of all the forces acting on a body in a particular direction must be equal to rate of change of momentum in that direction. ये है ना Newton's second law. So algebraic sum of all the forces acting on a body in x direction must be equal to rate of change of momentum in that direction with reference to time of force. ये है Newton's second. Give me. Now tell me, can I take mass outside the differentiation sign? Imagine a satellite is being thrown in the orbital, and you are writing down this equation for a engine of a rocket. Satellite के किसी component के लिए लिख रहे हैं. Tell me, is mass constant? No. Why? That is okay. What else? Thousands of gallons of fuel is being consumed per unit time. Do you agree with me? Once the satellite reaches a particular altitude, it drops certain mass. Do you agree with me? So mass cannot always be thought of as a constant. No, it may be a function of time depending upon the problems that you are solving. Fortunately, this being the first course in structural dynamics, we are going to deal with the situations where mass can be assumed to be constant over the period of observation. In that pretext, now can I take M outside? Yes. So once I take this M outside, this takes another well-known form. क्या form है? This mass and velocity dv by dt is acceleration in x direction. So it is mass into acceleration in x. This is Newton's second. Algebraic sum of. Unfortunately, most of the text write F equal to ma nonsense. It is algebraic sum of all the forces acting on a body in a particular direction, unbalanced force that must be equal to mass into acceleration. Agree? चलो अब यही लॉ यहाँ पे अप्लाई करते हैं, x डायरेक्शन में ही अप्लाई करेंगे. What is the algebraic sum of all the forces acting on a body? Tell me. So this law applied here. बोलो. P of t. P of t वो फोर्स का ये कहा है, गधे में घोड़े कैसे ऐड करोगे? U double dot of t is acceleration. It is not a force. So force कौन से है?
minus k u.
Minus k. So minus k into u. Do you agree with me? Equal to हो गए ना सारे फोर्सेस x डायरेक्शन के हो गए, y डायरेक्शन के फोर्सेस का सवाल ही नहीं है. I am applying Newton's second law in x direction. So this must be equal to what? That's a zero. Mass of this block, which is m, है ना, and u double dot of p. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
And it is positive because I assumed u double dot of p is force factor. So yeah, chalo ab I don't like to see this equation in this form. I am going to rearrange it. तो rearrange करना हमको पहला मतलब क्या करने वाला हूँ, जो external stimuli है वो एक साइड में रखूंगा. So P of T will be on one side. और जो structure से related properties है M and K से related वो एक साइड में. Are you with me? So therefore I am going to rearrange this equation and then I get the equation mu double dot of T. Do you agree with me? Plus Ku of T. This must be equal to Q. Do you agree with me? अब I am going to drop argument T. पता है it is going to be function of time. You know my surname is Joshi. Why should you always call Amrut Joshi after me? Right? So similarly, I know that it is function of time. So I am going to drop the argument T. So how does this equation look like? So this equation looks like mu double dot plus ku is equal to everything is function of time. I know u double dot of p except m and k. Everything is function of. Are you with me? तो आप जरा देखो, if I were to write down the value of u की वैल्यू मुझे अगर लिखनी है तो it is going to be p minus mu double dot upon k. समझ में आ रहा है? Static response क्या है? p by k. What is dynamic response? p minus mu double dot by k. फर्क है कि नहीं? So by applying Newton's second law, I understand that the static response के लिए equations dynamic response के लिए useless because I am not considering a term involving mu double dot. What is mu double dot? Inertia. समझ में आ रहा है? So inertia force consider न करने के वजह से inertia force होने के वजह से static और dynamic response में फर्क है. Are you with me? I have proved it. I have no hodgepodge business. I have applied Newton's second law. And I have proved it that it is going to be this way. Okay, fine. Now we are going to stop here, but just observe the characteristic of the equation that we have written. This is called as equation of motion. Why do we call it as equation of motion? Because it gives me motion parameters. If I solve this equation, I will get u as a function of time. I will get u dot, that is velocity, as a function of time. U double dot, that is acceleration as a function of time. So in rectilinear motion, displacement or position, velocity and acceleration, these are the parameters of motion. So therefore we call this as equation of motion. Point number 1. तो हम क्या बोलेंगे? EOM. जैसे equation of equilibrium बोलते हैं, वैसे यहाँ पे हम बोलेंगे EOM, equation of motion. One. Second observation. What is the order of this differential equation? Second order, because u double dot is d square u by dt square. So highest order देखना है, highest differentiation देखना है, second order differentiation. Are you with me? Is it a partial differential equation or is it a ordinary differential equation? Partial मतलब is u a function of t and something else? No. अभी तो नहीं है, बाद में हो सकता है. It can be function of space and time later, not now. So अभी जो मैंने प्रॉब्लम कास्ट किया है उसमें u is only function of time. So therefore it is ordinary differential equation. तो देखो क्या क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक है इस इक्वेशन की. फिजिक्स तो हो गया, फिजिक्स से हमने इक्वेशन डिराइव किया. नाउ मैथमेटिशियन तो ऐसे बैठा नहीं जाता, तो कुछ ना कुछ बोलते रहे. तो उसमें क्या बोलते हैं? इट इज सेकंड ऑर्डर ordinary differential equation. Are you with me? Is it homogeneous or non-homogeneous? Non-homogeneous because right hand side p of t. Are you with me? वो अगर जीरो रहता तो homogeneous. So therefore ordinary second order non-homogeneous linear differential. Linear क्यों है वो बाद में देखेंगे. Linear differential equation. ये इसके characteristics. So final summary point in today's class. Seemingly simple looking problem like spring and mass subjected to time varying force translate itself into second order differential equation which you now need to solve. How do you solve second order non-homogeneous differential equation? You will have to find out complementary function and particular integral. कितने लोग डिप्लोमा बैकग्राउंड से हैं? तो इंजीनियरिंग मैथमेटिक्स 1 2 3 में सीखा है कि नहीं? How to solve differential equation? Anyway, we are going to solve it for once. एक बार ही वो headache है. But we need to find out something called as complementary function and particular integral. इन दोनों का sum is the general solution of this equation. So ये करना पड़ेगा. Seemingly simple problem has translated itself into a complex differential equation, and that's the case most of the times. अगर आप फिजिक्स के कौन सा भी प्रॉब्लम देखोगे 99% ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम्स दे ट्रांसलेट देमसेल्फ इनटू डिफरेंशियल वहीं पे विकेट जाता है. Agree with me? So we are going to try and simplify this. We are not going to keep this course mathematically oriented. However, problem solving तो होगा, but it is conceptual based. Mathematics is one part of it, part and parcel of it. So therefore, ये second order differential governing differential equation हमें solve करना है to get the response of the system to dynamic. This is the point from where we will begin our story in the next class. So let us stop here today. I grant attendance to all students for today. Next time onwards, we will have Google spreadsheet in which you will put your attendance. So those who are attending the class online, I am going to stop recording. You can put your name and PRN in attendance in chat box and leave the meeting.